Evening, good day of Africans Cough It Out Now. My name is Piwim Mwabe from South Africa. I'm a digital content creator, storyteller, and writer, and I'm also the founder of Bohlale Hub Africa. Bohlale Hub Africa is an online platform that amplifies the voices of Africans on the continent and is on a mission to change the African narrative. In light of Youth Month and the 1970s of South Africa, we bring you Africans Cough It Out Now Youth Edition, where the young and the old will discuss continental realities. Our affiliation is with Africa and Africans. Welcome, and today we've got a very special guest that's going to help us discuss a very important subject of youth unemployment in Africa post COVID-19 and the future of work and leveraging on opportunities. So, as you join in, please do share with us where you're streaming with us from. And if you battle to access the stream, head over to our YouTube channel, which is Piwe Mwabe, as it appears on the screen. Lisa, how are you? Please just introduce yourself. Tell us who you are and what you do.
Hi, Piwe. Thank you very much for having me. Good afternoon, Africa. Good morning, world. Good evening, wherever you find yourself. My name is Lisa Matomola. I'm an HR consultant in Namibia. So my background is industrial psychology. So I do people-related consulting for public and private organizations. I deal a lot with employers and employees, harnessing relationships. And recently, for the past year, I've been spending a lot of time in terms of helping job seekers as well when it comes to techniques about job finding and also just for us, like you mentioned, helping people to increase their employability skills, because what we are offered in university and what is expected of us from the organization is there is kind of a gap. So doing a lot of work on that and just finding out what are some of the challenges as well. And during COVID, wrote a lot on the impact COVID had on Namibian organizations mostly, but regardless of where you are, the problems or the experiences are basically the same. I do follow in terms of the global trends, South African trends as well. So the challenges and the impact COVID had on organization is basically the same.
Oh my goodness, you are doing amazing work and we'll get more into it. So let's just get right into it. So over 3 million South African citizens lost their jobs during the COVID-19 pandemic, and with women constituting of two-thirds. The dire reality of unemployment is a major challenge in Africa. Let's just talk about what does the situation of unemployment currently look like in Africa, Lisa?
Like I mentioned, Piwe, it's a crisis. I think everywhere you go, if you go on Twitter, if you go on Facebook, and you just type the word unemployment, if you read LinkedIn, we see stories of graduates from various years. I come across people that graduated 2014, 2017, and still without jobs. So in some countries you find the percentage higher than 30. Namibia is among those. I think our statistics currently stand at 37.5% in terms of the unemployment. And when you have such figures, it also means that it becomes a disaster. Looking at the current economic challenges as well in terms of the inflation and the cost of living. So where the more we have unemployed graduates and citizens, the more some of the social problems we experiencing. So Africa is really in a crisis when it comes to employment. And when I look at other countries, for example, I sometimes I spend time in terms of Kenya, Zimbabwe, and in other Nigeria. You find that people even have qualification as far as master's degree, but still can't find jobs because of the current unemployment rates that are high and lack of jobs. And like you mentioned, people losing jobs. The past 2 years, during COVID, we've seen companies retrench, we've seen companies close down. And I think some of the effects that are also caused, if you follow what's happening in KwaZulu-Natal recently in terms of the flooding, such
Yes.
cases can also impact what unemployment can do, especially to young people. And dreams kind of get shattered in the way, because
Oh,
when you don't
yes.
have a job, you feel where is my future and what am I likely to contribute, family wise and professional wise.
Lisa, you mentioned so many important pointers, like, number one, unemployment being a crisis alone, the economic impact. You spoke about the cost of living. You also mentioned something very important. The dreams being shattered, and you also mentioned the whole point of so many people, especially from, like you mentioned, countries like Nigeria. People study up to their master's degree and find themselves in the situation of being unemployed. So it is indeed a crisis that is impacting many Africans on the continent, and does have a way of young people having this this mentality of questioning their abilities, because they are battling to find employment. So unemployment is really a crisis on the African continent. I think we lost Lisa there. Um, I think we lost Lisa, but she'll be back, right? So like I was mentioning, that it is a crisis here on the African continent, and we need to find ways on how we can assist young people to see whether they can be employable. You find other ways to assist young people to have access to these opportunities, instead of losing hope. Because I also believe that as much as we have the solution of directing young people into entrepreneurship, not everybody is meant to be an entrepreneur. So what happens to the category that is left? We can't just say all young people need to be entrepreneurs and so forth. So dealing with the crisis of unemployment is a very it's a sensitive matter, because indeed it has become a crisis and has impacted our economies, on the African continent, has impacted the economy. We'll wait for Lisa to come back, but in the meantime, whilst we wait for Lisa, please do head over to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to subscribe, and also don't forget to comment, like, share, and also don't forget to read our blog. It's Bohlale Hub. It's bohlaleafrica.za with a slash in the end. As we wait for Lisa to come back, we are currently experiencing a network challenge on our end. So please do be patient with us. These are the perks or more challenges of being in the digital era. Lisa is making her way back to the stream. So as I mentioned, that in the meantime, do go to our YouTube channel. And yes, please do. We are currently getting Lisa to come back on the stream and join us. Lisa will be back. She's rejoining the stream. Please be patient with us. This is a very important topic that we are discussing. Okay. Lisa is rejoining us shortly. Please be patient with us, viewers. Lisa is rejoining. She's currently battling with the network. So we're just trying to get a hold of her. Please take heart. We seem to be experiencing network challenges, connectivity challenges, but we are resolving the connectivity challenges. Okay. Okay. Let us. Lisa, can you hear me now? Lisa, can you hear me now? Okay. Li- Lisa's back. Lisa's back. We do apologize for inconveniences, but please take heart. Must go. We continue. Lisa, you're back
I
and
apologize.
we're live. We're still live. No
Yeah,
worries. No worries. We are rolling. We are rolling.
I have to use my phone.
We
My
are roll
Wi-Fi seems to be.
we are rolling. No worries. Let's just get right into as we are still on the call, on the live call. Like I did mention that I love what you said about unemployment being a crisis on the African continent. I also love
Yeah.
that you brought up the economy also being impacted, cost of living, inflation. You mentioned the dreams being shattered, and that's a very important element, especially when it comes to youth unemployment. Dreams get shattered, and this does
Yeah.
have an impact on how young people view themselves. So, with all that's been said, I want, I want to understand as you're responding to this challenge with great resilience and adaptability. Responding to this challenge with great resilience and adaptability is key, right? So please tell us what you do at Hito, HR and training consultants.
So it's actually pronounced. It's a Japanese word for people. So yeah, because
Oh,
I'm
wow.
a people I'm a people consultant. I do a lot of in terms of assisting companies restructuring, aligning their structures to strategy. Normally, when companies have new strategies, we need an organizational structure that can drive that strategic plan. A lot of work in terms of developing job descriptions so that employees also know what is expected of them, evaluating the position, performance management, which is very, very critical, especially right now because everybody's talking about high performance culture. Of course, we are talking about people being unemployed, but when you get the job, do you just drop the ball or do you continue producing? Because for us to actually create jobs for others, we need to work hard so that when we produce, when we make revenue, when we sell more, regardless whether you're in the tomato industry, agriculture, mining, the more work you do, the more productive an organization is, the more revenue, the more chances of creating other jobs. So I spend a lot of time and also training, soft skills training. We graduate as accountants, as digital content creators, but when you start now moving into an organization, as you get promoted, as you grow, you need to be exposed to the people management aspect, and managing people is actually one of the most difficult jobs in the world. I think if you ask any manager, they will tell you their current issues is with people. And recently with the COVID, like we mentioned, there was a lot of change in terms of how do you manage somebody that you can't see. So we don't really care about where you are, just give us the work. But now if you have cases where, um, um, for example, the Wi-Fi is not working and we have a due date, but communication. So bringing about those skills and say, communicate. If you're experiencing challenges, communicate. If you need support from your manager, communicate. Managers supporting their employees as well. So that communication has to be there. The moment it's not there, then the work cannot be done. So I spend a lot of work in terms of advising CEOs, leaders, even employees themselves. What happens when you get the job? You don't just come to work and be on Facebook the whole day, or you get assigned work and you pretend nothing happened, because that's how we also become unproductive. So it's really, I spend a lot of work in terms of looking at high performance cultures.
Oh wow, amazing. High performance cultures. And in relation to the pandemic, it's difficult to see because people are working from home with the whole hybrid model setting. So it's very interesting, right? Um, so faced with the pandemic and the role of work on its own, it's important to consider the impact of work and the workplace. So how do unemployed young people stand out when applying for job opportunities and also stay relevant, especially with the pandemic right now?
Mhm. That's a very, very important question, Piwe. And to be quite honest, one of the things I tell job seekers is that competition is very high. For as much as unemployment is high, the first thing that you do, a CV is a document that is used to sell yourself. So there are jobs that are advertised that everybody applies for. So if your CV has errors, if it's not aligned, if it has spelling mistakes, I pick up a lot of that. I spend time sometimes in the morning just to go through people's CVs, and I realize some people don't really reflect, or it has missing information, doesn't even say how do we contact you. So people lose out if you're in the job market and your CV doesn't have contact details. We don't have time to email you. So what do recruiters do?
Mm.
They move on to the next CV. And the other thing that is also very, very crucial for job seekers to stand out, don't just rely on positions that are being advertised. Everybody sees that. We all send our family members, the moment the job is in the newspaper, it's on LinkedIn, we send to one another and say, apply. So about 60% of jobs are not really advertised. And being a consultant, I get direct positions that are just sent to me and say, help us find somebody in this job. So that's how people get jobs. We just refer them, and referrals do well because we can, if I've spoken to somebody, if I've interviewed somebody, maybe from a previous position, and I can tell that they are likely to get the job, because also it's no longer just about qualifications. Everybody has qualification. It's also the attitude. So recruiters are looking at character as well, and not just qualifications, because people can have qualifications, but are you really fit for environment? So the advice that I always give out is that reach out to recruiters, and not just HR managers. I'm in HR, but I don't really make recruitment decisions. Of course, I can do referrals, but spending time and just contacting and who do I want to talk to, selling myself, setting up coffee sessions, maybe not as in person, but using the modes that we have, like virtual session, and not just looking into one area. We have hybrid models now. And when I checked this morning, I actually saw a very interesting tweet where a lot of South African software developers are actually working for international companies. So we don't even need to go to another country to do work. I can be in Namibia and still deliver work for somebody or for an organization. So not just looking at jobs within our regions, but what is also out there without me having to move. Then that's how you also broaden your scope of work. So it's really, really important. And not just the other thing, to stand out. Sometimes job seekers, they just send the CV, no information, nothing in terms of introduction. So the approach in terms of how you reach out to a recruiter is very, very important. Thank you.
Oh wow. Attitude. Like that's hectic. When you mention attitude, I was because like that's a big deal as well. Attitude also the competition is really high and you want to stand out and then you've got all these candidates across the world wanting to have this certain position, wanting to hold the post. And also how
Mm.
you approach recruiters also matters. You don't just, hi, I want a job. You need to have a certain way you approach. Because I usually see recruiters on LinkedIn, they it seems as if they're very cold, but they always have these status like, don't just say hi, tell us who you are, what you want to do. Don't, there's a certain way we have to approach them. So I'm really moved out, and I know whoever's going to be listening to this is going to be very, very you know this is very informative, and the information is going to be lifelong for them. They're going to use it lifelong. Again, Lisa, my third last question to you. So as an expert, right? What are tips that you can share when applying, especially now with the COVID crisis? Like you said, the competition is high and attitude matters. Like what can we do differently now? What can young people do differently to have access to these opportunities, like a leg in?
Um, it's a very, very important question again to say. So when I'm coaching people, when I'm giving interview tips, I always ask, right now, what are you doing? I'm just at home. So given the opportunity to sell yourself, what would you do? And most of us, when we get an interview, we kind of promise what that this is what I'm gonna do. But now when you get the job, you also just it's now a job, or we join cults, because sometimes in companies they can be groups that can actually even make you lose focus. So if you want to have a job, apart from the character, apart from the attitude, it's your work ethic. That is also one of the biggest things that recruiters are looking for. So work ethic is very important. Being available, communicating, taking initiative, being proactive. So we're looking for people that are proactive. People don't just wait to be told, PWA, please send me this. PWA, can we have a meeting? PWA, do this. So we want people that take initiative, people that can contribute and understand to where the organization is going. And then when we look at the new generation that is actually joining, and I think as managers as well, it's also important to understand and say, this new generation, what do they want? They are also very digital. So most of them spend time universities online learning. So their social skills are also not being there. So engaging them, talking to them all the time, and just availing themselves and say, I can help you. But to emphasize more, I'd say work ethics, because the moment you join, especially private sector, they really big on performance. And the moment you are not performing, unfortunately, they have to let you go, because For them, it's about money. For them, it's about production. So if you come and you are relaxed and there are like 5 of you, even when you're thinking promotions, career development, managers easily focus on those that have the drive, the ones that are proactive, the ones that show that they want to work and going beyond and above. Recently, also watch the video. Sometimes people discourage people and say, Piwe, even if your manager calls you on Saturday to assist, you don't get paid on Saturday. But that's how people actually kind of determine and say, Piwe is likely to be the next manager, because if I say, Piwe, you need to see this client on Saturday, and that is your biggest client that you need to see. They bring in 4 million and it contributes to you creating jobs for others. So, and it's not every day that you'll be required to work on Saturday. So there are times when we just go beyond and above. And the attitude of saying it's not in my job description, unfortunately, that also kind of kills organization, because if you look at the impact COVID had, a lot of retrenchments happen. And when the retrenchment happens, people's jobs are shifted on others, but now we need to continue delivering on the assignments. And that's where the work ethics comes in. People come to work late, so you come to work late, you leave early. When you are there but you are not there, we have a term that we call presentism, people coming to the office to show up but not doing anything. So at the end of the day, it's the output that really matters. Whether you're there or not, are you really doing the work that is required? Or and also, if you're working from home, just being reachable, because we confuse working from home with, I don't know what it is. It's like if I'm working from home, I'm supposed to do work, and that kind of frustrates and manages, and that's how some people become micromanaged and will forever be on your case 24/7. So if you need to stand out, you need to look at your work ethic. You need to stand out. You need to sell yourself. If not, like in idols, they will say the journey ends here for you. So and there are so many job recruiters. So somebody is knocking, somebody wants your job, then they are hungry and they can even do it for free. So the one thing is there are people that are willing to offer their skills for free to organization, because they just want exposure. And maybe just to add on, I know I can be talking for some time. Not a big fan of free work, but if you get an opportunity to just get exposure, to learn skills, being at home will not add to your CV. But when you're an intern, people are always fighting in paid internship, and a lot of organizations, they do pay for internship. Trust me, we understand that the cost of living is high. We might not give you a salary as in like a hefty package, but in terms of transport to cover for day-to-day costs, there are organizations that do that. So it's really important getting those volunteering opportunities to just learn skills, because what is lacking, especially for new graduates, is the skills. So you need those employability skills, and it's easy to get a job when you are employed, because people can already tell and say this person is actually doing this. And networking opportunities, network with people, personal development is key.
Wow. I'm so touched. Wow. When you mentioned also work ethic, we tend to take it for
Mm.
granted. Like, we tend to take the importance of having a very strong work ethic, even when you're not employed. It's important. And I love what you also said about taking initiative when you're employed, because you also
Yeah.
want to go up the ladder. You don't want to just do just one role for 5 years or whatever. And then you spoke about proactive. Also, you spoke about
Mm.
social skills, which is very important. You I see that these days that people who are getting opportunity can speak for themselves. They need to have social skills, people who can talk to people who can work with people. And it's amazing that you brought it up. And the whole point of networking, you can never go wrong with networking. You touched on a very, very important point of
Yeah.
net. And I just love what you said. And I myself am taking notes for myself, because I used to take it for granted, that work ethic is something that also counts in the working, workspace. Like I used to think work ethic is also more along, personal development, but when you also mentioned it in the space of the working environment, and this whole taking initiative, we always say, no, they didn't pay you to do that. When you get the phone call on Saturday, you feel like, no, 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 they didn't pay you. In South Africa, we're like, Talanga, that whole no, 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 they for this. So I have every right to reject that phone call. And that, that rejection of that phone call could have maybe been your next step to your promotion. So taking initiative when you're inside the workplace also does help. And then, Lisa, how do we find your services? Like if somebody wants to come to you for assistance, what do I do? What's the first step?
So I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn, especially in sharing job tips or any information that I pick up, because I also do coaching. So when I coach people, and like you mentioned, you can be 5 years in a position. I actually come across people that are 16 years in one position, entry level, and that kind of explain like what's happening. So how are you even branding yourself in this company? So drive career development is a personal initiative. So that is also something that is really big. So I spend a lot of time on that as well. So I'm on LinkedIn, Lisa Matomola. The company also has a website, hito.com, hitohr.com. I'm on Twitter as well. And my handle is at MIEYOLISA. So I do share a lot of interview tips or anything, because sometimes managers, they share with me and say, Lisa, they actually call me your job seekers. So they are kind of my my kids life, I put it like. So they always say, there was a client who told me a candidate came for an interview. So even when you go for an interview, red eyes, unprepared, he was really good. He was very intelligent, but it just shows that this person was not ready for these jobs. Coming, you're still smelling alcohol, so you chose to party the whole night while you have an interview. So those kind of things, they kind of switch mark. You lose marks, you lose points, because now you're working with you're competing with other people. So it's really, really crucial. So the brand, when you're a job seeker, you also a brand, and promise on the deliver on your brand promise. So if you promise something in an interview, just do what you promise, so that you stand out. Because if you're thinking moving careers, it just doesn't end at where you start. Sometimes you can start as an intern, work your way out in the same organization to even become the CEO of that company.
Phew. Wow. I'm so touched. Wow, I can only imagine to the viewers who'll be watching this, who are watching this currently. I like what you said, that as a job seeker, you are a brand. And that's what
Yeah.
we tend to take for granted. You're not just unemployed. Like you are a brand, and you need to have a way where you establish this brand and package it in a way that's so attractive that they can't pass you by. Like they need you more than you need them, kind of brand. So
Yeah.
that is like, I'm using, yes, I'm taking that, like you are a brand as a job seeker. So, my second last question to you, um, please share any advice for job seekers out there looking for employment, looking for opportunities, just looking for that exposure to enter the market, or, just have opportunities. What do you say to them?
Beware, the one thing I want to say to job seekers is that companies, they are also they also want to create jobs, and currently the crisis we are facing is it's a global crisis. So there are companies that are taking decisions not because they don't want to create jobs. So as job seekers, we also have to kind of balance, but we shouldn't lose hope. We all concerned about the crisis, because somebody's getting to the age of 30 and they're not employed already in your age. At 30, everybody had plans and that kind of stuff. But every day, so job seeking is a full-time job, and spend time in terms of when you wake up, what do you choose? Do you choose to sleep the whole day, or do you wake up and take that time and invest? So not losing hope. And also we need to upskill ourselves. So if you studied a certain course and it's not lending you that job, what are the new trends? There is actually a lot of research in terms of jobs for the future. So is a certain course still relevant? Is it going to be there? There's things like automation, artificial intelligence. We're talking about the fourth industrial revolution, actually fifth industrial revolution, depending on where you are. So there are machines, robots that are coming to take jobs. So when the jobs are being taken, what makes you employable in terms of your skills? But let's spend time networking and get coaching. So a lot of people, their CVs are actually, they get an opportunity to get jobs, but when they get there to represent themselves. So when you get a phone call, find somebody that can assist you and say, please help me prepare, or check on YouTube stuff. There's a lot of content in terms of how to prepare for an interview and that kind of stuff. But hopefully things get better as economies pick up. But right now it's a bit of a challenge. So some jobs will not be advertised. So contacting companies directly in terms of, do you have a job for me? This is what I can do. And marketing ourselves and upskilling yourself. Some people are changing careers. I was actually watching a video. Somebody was a lawyer and they now a gamer. They developing games. So when you switch careers, also this kind of stuff can happen. So we as Africans, sometimes we are focused on that. I need to be the engineer, but what if engineering is not happening? Can you find another route? So career change is important. The one challenge I've also picked up is a lot of us, sorry for taking a bit of your time, a lot of us, we studied this field and now we have experiences in that one field. So when you're trying to kind of navigate through, it's also a bit of a challenge. However, what is more beneficial at the current space? Is it your passion, or is it the financial stability? Because we also need to weigh options before we just give up stuff. But there are those of us, if you don't have responsibility, you can decide to switch your career immediately. But if you have, when I tell people that for you to change your career, it means you taking a salary cut, you give up on your job title, then they were like, no, but I have a mortgage to pay, I have a car to pay, I have kids that go to school. So those kind of things, they do happen. With job seekers, it's not just unemployed people, they're actually people that are also employed but searching for jobs in other industries or having to move and finding career growth.
Oh my goodness, Lisa. Whew. What a I'm still processing, like I'm taking it all in. Like, job seeking is full time. Like it's a job on its own. So let's start there. And the importance of networking, I like what you said, that some of these companies don't advertise posts. They don't advertise, and you need to, like you said, take initiative where you, as the seeker, reach out to the recruiter. So that is also another way of going about looking for employment opportunities, reaching out to these companies. And when you say don't lose hope, oh my goodness,
I
every
know.
time that also is that, my goodness, how do lose hope, because it's so difficult these times. It's that it's very difficult, because sometimes people are received, like, have this pressure from home, like, you went to school, in the African homes, no, you went to school,
Yeah,
it can't be that you don't have the job, the pressure that's also coming from home, the standard that you also set for yourself as an individual, saying, the goals or the it's at this age I've accomplished this and this. It's also killing us. So that was a lot. And then I love what you also said about passion versus financial stability. That's a hard pill to swallow, but it's something I believe we need to start openly speaking about, and especially in the African communities, that we are people are in between. It's that I need support. I need to support at home. I need to bring home the bacon, but at the same time, I'm also passionate about this and this. So
Yeah.
it's a lot. It's a lot, and it's conversations that we need to start having about employment within the sector of the labor force. That passion versus financial stability. What is it? How do we define it actually? Is to suit you as an individual, not even about the next person. So that's like amazing. And since the show is Africans Cough It Out Now, what would you like to cough out to African leaders right now?
Oh wow. You didn't warn me about this part. What do I need to
I think we lost Lisa there again, but she'll be back. She'll be back. She'll be back. In the meantime, please do watch the video. Please watch this stream again if you haven't watched it. Although we were experiencing network challenges or connectivity challenges, it's very informative. Lisa will be back with us. Very insightful. Very. I'm so moved also, like, having this conversation with her. Um, I also wanted to just re-emphasize the importance of, like what Lisa mentioned, was that companies don't advertise some posts these days, right? So what happens is that you need to, as an unemployed or job seeker within the market already, you need to start reaching out to these companies so that you can have access to these opportunities, because they are not icing. I think maybe it's because of the competition, but like, also try that route if you're looking for opportunities. Also networking, networking is very important. Network on LinkedIn, network with everyone, network. And referrals, asking for referrals does help. That's something that Lisa did mention, that referrals do are a step into the job market. So don't take that for granted. Asking for networks from your connections, from people that you know, or people that you've worked with before. I know that also helps, that you just ask somebody that you've worked with or worked for to refer you to another individual or another organization which you want to work for. That can also help. And I also wanted to emphasize that we shouldn't forget the whole point of being a brand. You as an unemployed person, or a person looking for employment in the job market, you are a brand. You're not just unemployed. That is something that is just part of, it's your social, the social element of it, categorizes you as unemployed, but like, you are a brand. So you need to start working on your brand, establishing a certain brand for yourself as an individual, to have access to these opportunities. Because sometimes we need to go and knock on the doors for the doors to open, so that we have access to these opportunities. And on other occasions, you just need to start building that door for you to have access to the next opportunity. So yeah, I really love what Lee said, and she is gonna come back to just wrap up. However, I hope you find this very insightful. I hope you don't give up as well. You look at you change how you see your situation as an unemployed person, or as a job seeker in the in already in the market. Sometimes it's all about shifting your perspective. So that's the whole point of us having these conversations on Africans Cough It Out now, bringing experts experts such as Lisa to just shift how you look at yourself as an individual. So this episode 7 was just all about having, changing your outlook, especially now with the pandemic. Hence, it was titled The Future of Work and Leveraging on Opportunities. So I really hope that this did help you so much. This will help you, and you'll go back and watch the full video and see what you can pick from it and apply it in your daily life. And also, whilst you're sitting at home, upskilling yourself. Upskilling does help. It does help because it gives you an opportunity, it gives you access, your is increased when you upskill. So don't take that for granted. Whether you do these digital courses, I see these digital courses online where, copywriting or whatever skills that you're looking for, go on these websites. Most of them are free. There are websites where you have to pay to have to pursue a short course and so forth. However, some websites are free. So take advantage of that. Take advantage of all these free opportunities for yourself, because it's also showing that on your CV, as as you building your brand, that you're also an individual that takes initiative, and that's what we need to know. And I think the last point as well is the whole concept of, we need to bear in mind that there is competition, and competition is high. Competition is high, um, from all spheres, whether you're unemployed, whether you're in the job market, with like it's just high. So we need to try and ensure that we have these very strong brands that set us apart from each and everyone else. And the final part also is not losing hope. We are not we're not allowed, like it's not allowed for you to lose hope, because you are almost there. I know it's not easy, but you're almost there. You are an email away from your next opportunity. You're a DM away from your next opportunity, and don't take that for granted. So, because our time is up now, we'll just end it from here. And thank you so much, Lisa, for your time. Thank you so much for your wisdom. We appreciate every form. We value your insight and your experience that you shared. Please do go on and follow Lisa. Use her services. Reach out to her. She's more than willing to help where she can. Please do. I always say Africa is home. Africa is not a playground. I hope that we view opportunities differently. Sometimes it's all about exposure and not experience. And my name is P. Mwabe. This is of Africans Cough It Out Now. I thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe and go to our website. Thank you.